We'll always look at the differences rather than what connects us. That can't work, that's a bit weird. So actually no, like if you look back historically, and when you look back through cloth and fabrics and textiles, you know, you find all these really amazing layers, you know, through, I guess, what the British Empire has created and what I'm a product of, I guess. I was brought up by my mum and dad, Jeffrey and Maureen Daley, and obviously with my work I reference a lot of stuff quite personally. My initial interest in textiles, without even knowing it, goes further back within my own family's history. All the women on my mum's side in Dundee, they worked in the jute mills. I learned so much about, you know, what mill my great-grandma worked at, the whole history about that particular fibre and textile. And then obviously on my dad's side, I guess in West Indian culture, the Windrush, being smart, like Sunday's best. You know, you got to wear the right shoes. Are they Clarks? Are they polished? My dad was in the British military, and that's where he met my mum in Dundee. They wanted to start this reggae club. They made their own t-shirt, the one which I reproduced for my collection, called Sligo. My dad's DJ name was I-Man Sligo, Sligo sound system, based on a place in Jamaica called Sligoville. They just felt in Scotland at the time they didn't have that space for that type of music. I guess in a way I'm carrying on that family heritage or legacy with my shows. So they're kind of fashion shows, they're kind of music gigs, but I guess in some way it's like carrying on from what they did 30 odd years ago. Especially from my mum's perspective, always wanted to make sure that I'm aware or exposed or told this is part of you, this is where you're from. Scottish manufacturing in particular has been quite a key element to my designs, really. Halley Stevensons, who do all the wax cotton fabrics, I've been using them since my graduate show. Halley Stevensons was originally a jute mill. It's a very important fibre. At one point, I think Dundee as a city was very profitable because of the jute trade. One particular fibre with jute, you can weave in and out the history of Dundee or Scotland or British manufacturing, connect the empire, then also it goes directly into my own family's history and these strong women who worked in not very nice conditions, did it to better their future, and which has obviously led for me being here today. That's the reason why I called my collection Jutopolis, which was what Dundee was known for, because it was the mecca of this fibre which was used during the Great Migration in North America, as well as all of the sacking for World War I and all these like very pivotal moments. Subconsciously checked cloth or tartan-inspired cloth has always sort of been quite important in my work. It's great to like work with other manufacturers or mills in and around Scotland. I did a collection called Black Watch after the Black Watch tartan, and about, you know, the Black Watch regiment in particular. I was looking at tartan from loads of different perspectives, not just like Braveheart and punks. Do you know what I mean? Like tartan's got a way more complex history. I went to the Black Watch Museum in Perth, and there was just like this one sort of obscure model of this black soldier, and I was just like, this is a bit odd. Who's this guy in the corner? And then I learned about George Rose. He left Jamaica really young and ended up in Scotland, and then he joined the Black Watch Army because they were the only regiment which would like accept him. Scots were the only, you know, as far as from what I've read, they were like, yeah, like you can be part of it. So I got kilts made by Glen Isla Kilts, who are one of the last remaining sort of kilt manufacturers in Scotland. John, the owner, was really, really nice. You know, he likes the fact that someone new like me who's coming in there and trying to sort of give a different perspective on such an iconic piece of Scottish clothing, or just an iconic piece of clothing, full stop. I connect my love of music and traditional Scottish manufacturing or sort of material or textiles through a quite organic process. My Winter 18 collection was called Red Clay, which was Freddie Hubbard's LP, which he released in 1971. At the front sleeve of the vinyl, it's like a rising sun, like a burnt orange. So the corduroy which I selected was like burnt orange, and then some of the tweed which I developed in Hoyk with Love It Mill. I just picked like these particular yarn colours which were inspired by, you know, a lot of jazz covers, like all the blue notes where they're like really strong blues or burnt oranges or greens. So that was cool to also hear from the mill that they were doing stuff which was a little bit different to the more traditional tweed colours. Each collection's kind of like a family. It's like a brother or a sister or a cousin. Every collection I do has some type of connection, whether it's through the story or whether it's through the styling or whether it's through the collaborators or the models even. Continuing that evolution with each collection. Astro Black Spring Summer 20, that was at St Mary Hill in Monument, which was a 12th century church. The collection was heavily based on Sun Ra and Pharoah Sanders and spiritual jazz and I guess Afrofuturism. I collaborated with Sons of Kemet. They might look at a Pharoah Sanders track or a Miles Davis track or a Sun Ra track, and then I was looking at all those American jazz artists stylistically or through the music or through imagery. We just pushed more on colour. Some dupe colours which maybe not as quite regularly used, like, you know, bright oranges or reds or pinks or like quite intense colours with even gold, which I think the knitters were a bit surprised to see. It's really nice to work with other artists. I know that I've worked or collaborated with all these other amazing people, and like we sort of bounce off each other, and I think especially in today's society I definitely feel like there should be more of this collaboration mentality, like whether it's from a political perspective for sure as well as a creative one.